Hello, Leslie.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good week, thank you. Lots of things going on, lots of things going on.
Well, it's good to meet you again, to say hi. So I'm so sorry to talk to you already again. I mean, we've just literally talked last time but I've got to check in with you again because, I've been following you on Twitter and a bit of a stalker me. And I've seen a tweet of yours where you said something along the line of, why are advisors, consultants, experts, specialists in customs and global trade giving away free advice? And I have a bit of a, well, let me say, I want to discuss this with you, this tweet that you had, to see what's that all about?
Yeah, well, thanks, Arnie. I have to say that, what I was getting fed up with seeing was that, we're running specialist courses and we're running specialist help for people. And it's, been 40 years of experience got me to this place. And obviously, it doesn't take me long to know the answer to a question, but because I've put that much experience in. And I find it frustrating when people are giving away this information for free, because if you went to an accountant, I mean, I've just paid a bill because I had a conversation with my accountant for 20 minutes for £180. Why is it that we're saying that, accountants need paying, lawyers get paid, dentists and doctors get paid, but actually anyone who knows about international trade doesn't need to be paid for it? And indeed, it's making the market skewed, because actually we all need to earn a living, and that's our unassailable right.
Well, but it's a fact of modern life that we are running a lot of webinars nowadays, right? We are, and I myself, I am bombarded every week with sign up for this webinar, sign up for this, and you are right, because a lot of information on classification, on origin, is all given away for free. Yeah. And then of course, with this time limit of 45 minutes or so maximum plus discussion, where you can really only touch the surface.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that is the right amount of knowledge to have in order to file customs declaration or classify a code, or when all it really often does is it scratches the surface with a purpose to get someone to call up. I mean, that's not free advice, really. That's just marketing.
Yes, it is. It's really marketing. That's right. And I don't blame them for doing that at all, because obviously this is the current trend. But what I am concerned about is the fact that people aren't valuing international trade as a skill, because it isn't just the fact that as consultants, it's undermining us all the time. What it's also doing is it's stopping people from thinking of international trade as a career. And I really want people to, go into life and say, I want to work in international trade. If you want to travel the world and do all sorts of things, yes, you can become a language teacher and teach people English, although I don't know how much that's going to work any longer. Obviously, it's important to do that. You can become, if you're very lucky, you can join the Foreign Office and become posted all over the place. Not so easy. But you can work in logistics and you can work in international trade, and you can actually find a career where you can travel and meet all sorts of people from all over the world. And it's what made me fall in love with it. But actually, at the moment, I'm still in the circumstance where I'm very fortunate. People come to me and ask me for work, to work for them. But actually, how is this going to move forward? If we're giving away advice, then you're not going to get the best people involved in this world. And international trade deserves good people being involved in it.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I've studied this for some 15 plus years, right? All of the people that then can give a quick response out of the top of my head, it's not because it's just magically there. It's because it's practice, it's experience, it's seeing it, it's doing it that makes me be able to respond quickly to a complicated question. And as you always say, exporting is easy, but only if you know how, right? Like walking on a rope in a circus. If you learned how to do it, you can do it. So it's a skill, it's an art. And customs managers are really skilled people. They master the dark art of customs and should be remunerated as such. So
yeah.
it's a tricky situation to say to people, to businesses, hey, come join this webinar for 45 minutes and you will know everything, because that's not true.
Yeah, and one of the things we do at Bootcamps is we try very hard to get people to understand that, you know, we're giving them the flavors, we're telling them where they need to look. We're not going to be able to give them everything they need to know, but it's got a much broader aspect than this, though, Arnie, because actually we've got to get British companies out exporting more and more. We've got to get people to understand how this works, and to actually get people to export, they need to be confident in what they're doing. And, you know, I'm very keen to see the export strategy, which I think is going to be coming out later this year. And I want to see not just that we're managing to get people to tell people to export. I want to see how we're going to implement that, and how the whole team of consultants and private businesses that actually make their living helping businesses do that can be utilized, and how we can actually signpost. The government should be signposting to these people to help them. And, you know, we've already seen the big businesses, you know, EY, Deloitte, PwC, they've all come into this market suddenly when actually we were all there before, if that makes sense. So I'm interested to see how we learn from what other countries do in the way of support, because I think it's all about our taxation systems rather than actually the government giving people the advice or telling them to do things. I think it's about the tax that we have. So the R&D tax that we allow as an incentive should be extended to international trade. I think we have a situation where we no longer have to worry about the EU and their legislation, etc. What we've got to do is actually recognise that we need to incentivize our businesses, and our businesses need to spend money before they actually go into a new market. And during that period of the money that they have to invest in that market, they could do with a tax holiday on the expenditures, so that makes more sense to them, so they could get over to an international show. There's a big fuss about the trade show access program being dropped. Perhaps we use the R&D tax credits, give them credit for the amount of money they spend on the show. You know, there's loads of things we can do, and I think we need to really start, you know, big picture thinking about how we do this. Not the government can employ more people to give advice, but actually it's about empowering that sector of support that already exists. And that's where I am with that.
And these are perfect points. They should feature in the export strategy that we're developing. So I'm so grateful that you mentioned that in that detail as well. One thing I would add to that, from the customs space again, is what we've seen over the first 6 months of the year. We had a first wave of grants for customs intermediate, for advisory support, for training. We have had a second one specifically targeted for SMEs. An export strategy has, of course, the element of open, seeking new markets, but there's always this practical element of, customs implementation, dealing with the border. And 6 months of seeing what government support, open market-driven government support, where the businesses decide who to go to, decide who they want to work with, who they feel comfortable with, who's their advisor of choice, not where we have a friendly competition amongst everyone, not just the big players that have ear to government and ear to and the resources to do it, but everyone gets to be on the same sheet. And so this SME grant, this customs grant, was it was complicated, but it was successful. It allowed a lot of SMEs to tap into knowledge and experience that they never had before. So with the export strategy must come, I think, sustainable funding, not that renews every 6 months and has a complicated fund. Sustainable funding specifically targeting customs, global trade. Export control is another thing that people often forget. The licensing procedure you need specific advice. It is part and parcel of a global growth strategy. No
Exactly.
need going into Australia if you don't know how to export clear out of the UK.
Yeah, exactly. I think you couldn't put it better. You know, the Brexit Support Fund has been very good for the SMEs, and it's been very interesting working with those businesses and hearing their problems, because their problems are, a lot of that's about communication and the way we've all, you know, the government's been very good. They've updated their website. It's constantly being updated, but even I know it's being updated. Some days I go, oh no, not more. You know, how long are we going? How much more can we cope with, you know? And we've still got more changes coming at the end of the year, which we've got to help people to get ready for. Rules of origin, you know, people have been very naive about how that works. And of course that impacts on their supply chain as well, because they've got to think about where it's coming from and how that's going. And there isn't a magic wand. You just have to learn how it works and then work with it, I think.
All right. I think we basically designed the export strategy for the government, didn't we? In like less than 15 minutes. That's very good. Well, look what one single tweet can create. You know, the power of social media shows it again. This was an insightful conversation again. Thank you so much, Leslie. I think not only I found it really rewarding, but also the people watching this will have lots of questions. And as always, you can subscribe to the channel. You can interact with us. You can send us messages. You can comment down below. All the links are there. And it would be just fantastic to hear what you think about the UK's export strategy and what you think the priorities should be. So Leslie, once again, what a fabulous conversation. And, you know, it makes me want more and more and more of this.
We'll speak soon. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye then. Bye.